Hi everyone, welcome to the second video on the percentages topic, looking at reversing a percentage change. Okay, now what we're going to look at here is working backwards with percentage changes. The first thing we're going to look at is being able to identify where a percentage change is already taking place. Okay, now these questions are tricky because they look exactly like the questions we looked at in the last video. Being able to identify when these questions are taking place is the thing that makes them a National 5 question. After identifying them, we then need to be able to work backwards to reverse that percentage change and find out the 100% that we started from. Okay, so I'm just going to run through three examples. Okay, very simple, just three examples. I'll talk through each of them, and then when you go into class, you can get some practice. Okay, so example one, Frances buys a top in the sale at a 25% discount. If she pays £54, how much was the top originally? Okay, now, first thing to notice here is that Frances buys a top in the sale that has a 25% discount. If she pays £54, how much was the top originally? Okay, so she's paying £54, which is the cost after 25% has been taken off. Okay, and that's the trick here, recognising that, well, actually the percentage change has already happened. They're getting the answer here. 25% reduction gives you £54. And the key to this is, well, actually, that £54 is 75%. Okay, so £54 is when you've lost 25%. Okay, so when you've lost 25%, that means 75% is there for in the £54. Now, you can do this in a non-calculator way or a calculator way. Okay, the calculator way, always the same, work it down to work it back up. What you've got to do now is you're going to use proportion. You're at 75%. Down here somewhere, you want to get back to 100%. It's not easy to just do a straight multiplication there. What would be easier is to go down to 1%. Okay, so if you have a calculator, always go down to 1%. It's nice and easy there. So to go from 75% to 1%, we're dividing by 75. Okay, and once you're at 1%, all we need to do is times by 100. Okay, so 54 divided by 75 is 0.72, so 1% is 0.72, and then you multiply it by 100, 100% is 72 pounds. Okay, so the top was 72 pounds originally. Okay, nice and easy once you've got that first line, and it tends to be, obviously depending on the mark is in, but it tends to be just a mark for each. Okay, a mark for making an initial statement, a mark for coming down to 1% or coming down to a lower proportion, and then a mark for going back to get the final answer of 100%. Okay, second example. Okay, Peter adds a 10% service charge on his dinner bill. He paid a total of £94.38. How much was his dinner bill? Okay, so again, he's added a 10% service charge on, and after that, he's paying a total of this. Okay, so this is what happened after you've added 10% on. So if you add 10% on, you're at 110%, and that is what £94.38 is. Okay, so £94.38 is 110%, and if you've got a calculator, just work your way down to 1%. Okay, so to do that, I divide by 110. No, rubbish. Okay, divide by 110, not 100. Okay, divide by 110, and that gives you 0.9. Oh no, I'll take down my calculator. 100 as well. Having a nightmare. Okay, that gives you 0.858. Okay, so that gives you 0.858. And then to go from 1% to 100%, you multiply it by 100. That's going to be £85.80. So his dinner originally cost £85.80. Okay, one last example, and what we're going to do is we're going to do this non-calculator. Okay, so these examples, it could be an either. Okay, it could be in calculator, non-calculator. If it's calculator, as I've said, go down to 1% and then go back up to 100%. But here, non-calculator, so we don't really have that luxury. We could do it, but it'll probably make things a bit trickier. Okay, so Danny buys a car for his wife this Christmas. He haggles with the salesman and gets 10% off, paying £12,600. How much did it cost initially? Okay, so again, he's got 10% off, and after that's been taken off, he has to pay 12,600. Okay, so 90% is equal to 12,600. Okay, now if you have a calculator, go down to 1 back to 100. But that means you're going to be dividing by 90, which although is possible, just make it a little bit trickier. But what you can do, because it's 90%, if you go down to 10, then you can come back to 100% nice and easy. Okay, so firstly, 90%, divide by 9 to get 10%, and then we can times by 10 to get back to 100. Okay, non-calculator paper, so let's go and divide by 9. I'm using the wrong way, so into 12 it goes 1 remainder 3, which is 4, so £1,400. And then times them by 10 gives you 14,000. Okay, so initially it costs £14,000. Now after you've got in the habit of this, it's dead easy. And actually when you're practicing this in class, after you've got in the habit and after you get the first couple, it will be dead easy. The thing that makes this tricky is recognising the question when you've got a lot of other questions of different types around it. Okay, so be careful when you're answering percentage questions and assessments or ultimately in your final exam to make sure you know if it's a percentage change that you have to calculate or is a percentage change you have to undo. Okay, any questions, give us a shout in Modo, Twitter. Enjoy.